Picture this. You're 51, you've got a wife who still laughs at your bad jokes, one kid in college and one kid in braces, and a dull ache somewhere behind your belly button that's been hanging around since around Easter. At first, you blamed the office chair, then you blamed the mattress, then you settled on the explanation every middle aged man eventually reaches for, which is that this is just what your body feels like now and you should stop being dramatic about it. So you pop a couple of antacids and you carry on. But then your belt needs a new hole. You've dropped maybe 12 pounds and you didn't even try. And for about a week, you let yourself feel good about it. Then you realize you're tired in a way that sleep doesn't fix. Not yawning tired. Hollowed out tired, like somebody left the tap running on your batteries overnight. Food stops sounding appealing. Your favorite meal shows up on the table and you just sort of poke at it. Your wife's been telling you to book a doctor's appointment for a month and you finally go, mostly so she'll stop bringing it up at dinner. You're figuring it's something boring and fixable. Thyroid, vitamin D, a pill you take with breakfast and forget about. They draw some blood, send you for a scan, and you walk out completely calm because you feel basically fine. Then a couple of weeks later, you're sitting in a small room and the doctor is saying words you weren't expecting. Words like mass and pancreas and stage 4, and they're turning a monitor toward you to show you a shadow about the size of a walnut that has already mailed copies of itself to your liver. You ask about treatment. The doctor takes a breath that lasts about half a second too long, and that half a second tells you more than anything they're about to say. Oh, hey there. Before we get into what's quietly eating you alive, let's warm up with a quick round of true or false. I'll throw out some things people believe about cancer, you call it. Ready? First one. Cancer hurts, so if nothing hurts, you're in the clear. True or false? False. Some of the deadliest tumors are completely silent in the early innings. By the time your body bothers to send a pain signal, the thing's usually been throwing a party in there for months. Pain is a terrible smoke alarm. Second one. Eat clean, hit the gym, and you've basically opted out. True or false? Also false. Good habits stack the odds in your favor? Sure, but they don't hand you a hall pass. DNA gets damaged by smoke, by radiation, by a typo your own cells make while copying themselves, sometimes by nothing you can point to at all. Your green smoothie does not negotiate with bad luck. Third one, chemo cures it. True or false? It depends. Sometimes chemo wipes the floor with it, sometimes it just holds the line, and sometimes it does absolutely nothing except make you miserable while the tumor keeps right on growing. With pancreatic cancer specifically, chemo is mostly buying you weeks, not a future. Alright, so let's talk about what's actually going on when your own cells go rogue and start dismantling you from the inside over a span of months. And just to be clear, this isn't some rare freak diagnosis. Cancer is the second biggest killer on the planet. Roughly 1 in every 6 deaths worldwide is cancer. So, yeah, common. Uncomfortably common. Here's the core of it. Cancer isn't really one disease, it's a whole family of them that all share the same broken rule. Your cells are supposed to live on a schedule. They're born, they do a job, they wear out, they die, and a fresh one takes their spot. Tidy, organized, very corporate. But every now and then, a cell's instruction manual gets a glitch, and that glitch tells it to stop following the schedule. It quits dying. It just keeps splitting, churning out copies, and those copies churn out more until you've got a lump of cells that has no business existing, squatting somewhere it doesn't belong. In your case, that somewhere is your pancreas. A small, unassuming organ hiding behind your stomach, whose entire job is making the enzymes that break down your food and the insulin that keeps your blood sugar in line. Tiny, tucked away, easy to ignore, which is exactly why pancreatic cancer is such a quiet assassin. By the time it announces itself, the tumor's usually already large and already on the move. And here's the cruel part about how cancer kills. It doesn't usually stab you. It doesn't poison you in one dramatic hit. It just robs you, slowly. Tumor cells are greedy. They burn through enormous amounts of sugar and nutrients, hogging the fuel your healthy cells were counting on. That's the weight loss. You're not on a diet. You're being quietly consumed by a part of yourself. As the lump gets bigger, it starts leaning on things it shouldn't. In the pancreas, it can pinch off the bile duct, and bile that can't drain backs up into your blood and turns your skin and the whites of your eyes a sickly yellow. It can press on nerves and make every hour ache. It can squeeze your intestines until eating becomes a chore your body refuses. Then comes the spread, the metastasis. Little pieces break loose, hitch a ride through your blood or your lymph, and set up new colonies in other organs. Pancreatic cancer has a favorite vacation spot, and it's your liver, which is precisely where yours went. Once it lands there, it starts swapping working liver tissue for more tumor. And your liver is the organ that filters your poisons, makes the proteins you need, and stores your energy. When it goes down, the dominoes start falling everywhere. That's the whole reason stage 4 gets called terminal. Not that nobody can do anything, but that it's scattered too far and wide to cut out. And there's only so much a bag of chemicals can do against billions of cells hiding in every corner of you. Let's walk through the next half a year. Diagnosis to the finish line. Buckle up, none of this is fun. Month 1, you sign up for chemo because giving up isn't in you yet. You've got a kid graduating, things you swore you'd get to. So they start dripping carefully measured poison into your veins to kill anything that divides fast. Trouble is, plenty of healthy stuff divides fast too. So your hair starts thinning, your stomach turns on you, and the exhaustion goes from bad to bottomless. Months 2 and 3, the scans come back and the doctor calls it stable, which is a generous word for hasn't gotten worse yet. You've shed 30 pounds. People keep gently telling you that you look great, which is the thing people say when they mean the opposite. Your skin's gone yellow, the bile duct is fully blocked, and they can't get in there to fix it because the cancer has wrapped itself around too much of the plumbing. They've cranked your painkillers up 3 separate times and it still feels like someone's pressing a hot blade into your back around the clock. Month 4, the oncologist has the conversation nobody wants. Chemo's not holding it back anymore. Time to talk about hospice. They tell you hospice isn't surrender, it's about comfort and time with family, which is the polite translation of, we're going to keep you comfortable until this finishes. And weirdly, stopping treatment is a relief because the cure had started to feel worse than the disease. By months 5 and 6, you're on a continuous morphine drip because pills can't keep up. You float in and out, mostly out. Your kidneys are quitting, the food stopped, the fluid's pooling in your lungs so every breath comes out wet and rattling. The person in that bed doesn't look like you anymore, just a thin outline waiting for the last few lights to switch off. Then one breath comes and the next one doesn't. The heart taps out a few more beats from pure habit and then it's done. Total time from diagnosis, just over 6 months. So what does dying of cancer actually feel like from the inside? In the beginning, like nothing. And that's a trap. A bit of fatigue, a bit of ache, easy to file under getting older. There's no alarm bell, no single moment where you go, this is it. It creeps in slow enough that you keep adjusting to it. After the diagnosis, it feels fake, like a clerical error, like they're reading someone else's chart. Then the chemo lands and it feels like being poisoned, because that's literally what it is. Everything tastes like pennies, your bones hum with ache, your thoughts won't line up. As it drags on, it starts feeling like your own body has switched sides. Stairs become a project, a full plate becomes a battle, and the pain isn't the sharp kind that heals, it's the grinding kind that just sits on you and slowly turns the volume up. Toward the very end, it stops feeling like much of anything at all. The morphine wraps you in fog. Family faces drift in and out of focus, and there's no movie moment of peace or acceptance. You're just too worn down and too medicated to keep fighting, so you don't. And then you simply stop. Reality check. Cancer takes around 10 million people a year worldwide. Pancreatic cancer in particular has a 5-year survival rate hovering around 10%, and most people don't make it a year past diagnosis. A big reason is there's no good early screening for it, so by the time you've got symptoms, it's already wandered off somewhere else. For what it's worth, there's some genuinely interesting research suggesting that going without food for stretches of 2 to 3 days can make tumor cells more fragile during treatment, while your healthy cells hunker down and ride it out because cancer cells are hooked on sugar and panic when the fuel runs dry. It's not a cure, nobody's tumor vanishes from skipping lunch, but the science is real, and the reason you don't hear it shouted from rooftops is that nobody's ever gotten rich selling you the privilege of not eating. The actually useful takeaway, though, is this. A lot of cancers will give you a head start if you just pay attention to it. That nagging ache, the weight melting off for no reason. The lump that wasn't there last year, get it looked at. Yeah, it's almost always nothing. But the gap between catching it early and catching it late is the gap between a long, boring life and a short, loud one. And your doctor would 1,000 times rather see you for a false alarm than meet you again in 6 months when it's everything. So there you have it. Death by cancer. Slow, miserable, and far more common than anybody likes to think about. The good news is plenty of people never get it, and a lot of the ones who do beat it when it's caught in time. The bad news is you can do everything right and still pull the short straw. So don't sit on that weird symptom hoping it'll get bored and leave. Go get it checked. Like and subscribe if you enjoy these cheerful little chats about your own mortality. Stay safe, book the appointment, and if your body's quietly trying to tell you something, do me a favor and actually listen, because I promise it's a better use of your time than meeting me early.